pronouns don't really require you to take somebody else's word for their identity. Pronoun is a substitution for a noun that shows how you view that particular thing. If I see somebody, and let's say I find out their name is Gabriel, but I look at them and it looks like a woman, and somebody's like, oh, what do you think about Gabriel? Then my next response will be like, oh, I think he or she is a cool person. When I use that he or she, I'm not really going by what did they identify as or what I think, because they never told me any pronouns. The he or she would just be the representation that I have in my mind of that person. And if I think of them as a woman, I say, oh, she. If I think of them as a man, I would say he. The weird thing about pronouns is that
you're the moderator. You can't retort.
Oh, but you well actually I have
to.
I have to a little bit though, because you asked me to back you up. So you've involved me.
I only want you to back me up.
The moderator.
What is this?
Here we go. All right. Well, I am.
All right, wait. So
why are you torturing us? Somebody said to watch it. Somebody said it was a good meal.
I'll leave it to the rest of you.
All right, Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you have a topic you want to debate me on? Do you have a take of mine that you think is bad or something? Or do we want to bring in somebody else in the meantime for like a mini debate? Do we have anybody who's paid for like 15 minutes that can pop in that we can do?
We have one active contention, you and I.
What's the active contention?
Smug Bug is a douchebag, but he picked that hat by accident.
Oh, that's super interesting, actually.
Yes.
So,
I love our one-on-one talks. Steve Chet, happy birthday. I love you, Parasocially.
Yeah, so for people in the audience who don't know, on Twitter, I called this guy whose name is Smug Bug a Nazi. And then I'd said it again, like offhandedly on my stream because he had an avatar. Well, first of all, because he made a tweet that he said he was team genocide. And secondly,
wow, Merry Christmas, $100. Thanks, buddy.
Secondly, his avatar on Twitter was literally a poorly photoshopped SS hat.
Hope you have a wonderful day filled with the content you enjoy.
If I'm correct,
happy birthday.
I don't want to misrepresent your position.
Yeah, you
Sunday holds that this was a foolish mistake on behalf of Team Genocide Smug Bug. I would hold that. Well, let me open by giving you a little analogy. Let us imagine that you are hanging out at your friend's house, and you're hanging out and you're having a good time, and all of a sudden your friend's roommate comes running down the stairs, and they're wearing nothing but whitey tighties, which are stained brown as brown can be. And they are screaming at the top of their lungs, waving their arms around, going, "Ah, I shit my pants! I shit my pants!" Hee hee. And there's brown stuff leaking down their legs, and it also smells like shit as well. And you're going, "Oh my God, what the? Why'd you shit your pants? Why'd you shit your pants?" And then your friend says, "Get the hell out of the room! You can't shit your pants. Go clean up. That's disgusting." And then after they've cleaned up, they come back and they go, "You are a fool for thinking that I had actually shit my pants. You see, I simply put chili in my pants, and then I sprayed fart spray in the air. You are such a fool for thinking that I had actually shit my pants."
Now allow me to retort.
Yes.
Suppose that this brown putrid pair of tidy whities that Smug Bug is wearing has on the back Acme joke shatted underpants TM or whatever. He put vegan police on the hat. He is obviously using the Gestapo hat or the whatever Russian secret police hat, whatever it was. Or let's go with the worst one, the Nazi cap. He is obviously using that to make fun of the authoritative and strident attitude of some vegans, and is leveraging the hostility, the just hostility that people have towards Nazis as the punchline of the joke. This is the vegan Gestapo, the Vegstapo, if you will.
Well, let me retort by presenting my trap card, which was that the scenario that I provided previously was more charitable of an analogy than the actual one, which is that in the story that I presented, it was your roommate's or your friend's roommate, somebody who you would have some level of familiarity with. Whereas, see, my and everyone else's familiarity with this Smug Bug individual
Do you
is next
remember?
to nothing. First of all, they have basically no presence on the internet. And secondly, the only other interaction I'd had with them was
I don't know
them
why we're
making a
watching
joke
this. Somebody
about
recommended it in chat, okay?
genocide.
It
So if
better
I was
get
to be
good, or somebody's about to
truly
get
honest,
banned.
If I want to revise it, it would actually be a stranger running up to you with hot, steaming brown chunks running down their legs, spraying fart spray into the air and screaming, "I shit myself, I shit myself." And I feel like most people would be quite reasonable to come to the conclusion, I don't want that person near me, that person shit themselves. In the same way that I think
I propose a truce. I propose a truce.
truce?
We will meet halfway. He was indeed wearing the joke Acme pretend shit yourself underpants TM, but he actually shit them.
Ooh, fair. All right, I will agree. I will agree. I have been defeated in the realm of ideas in this one-off little thing. Smug Bug, I don't think you're a Nazi. I just think that you're pants-shittingly bad at representing yourself and your opinions online. And anybody who thought you were a Nazi would be in a rational position
birthday, Destiny.
given the pants.
What?
Enjoy your day, bro. Sunglasses. Partying face. Partying face. Partying face.
This whole, whatever this drama was with this slug dude sounds so dumb. I guess he wore like a fake, he had like a fake Nazi hat avatar that said like vegan on it. And people were like, oh my God, he's actually a Nazi. It's like, no, he's probably just making fun of vegans. God, it's got to be so exhausting to be these people when you're looking to get upset over everything all the time. Like every single person in society is like a Nazi in a fashion. You're like constantly on guard for it. It's got to be exhausting.
Pants shitting behavior.
Excellent
and,
timing.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah, sorry, go
What's
on.
that?
I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
Oh yeah, and you know, if you ever decide to stop shitting your pants, behaviorally, I mean, not literally, obviously, maybe people will stop calling you Nazi. Maybe
Or-
people will stop making the mistake.
Or maybe they'll stop calling you Nazi if you nominate yourself in the next round, which by the look of things will be at exactly 650. And maybe you can make your case better than I did. I tried. The forces of hell prevailed against me, unfortunately.
Oh well, no, I concede to a certain degree. I think we can reach peace here. It was embarrassing. It was like that thing
Do
where it was
you
like
remember?
the guy runs up to the group of people and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna piss myself," and then they go, fuck off, and then it goes,
Uh-oh. Wait,
they
what
didn't know
happened
that I
here?
was trolling. It's basically that, right?
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes until MrGirl starts. Aiko, how many buttholes was that worth?
Oh, these are, my shit is full. Fuck. Oh no, oh my God, I need to pick that up.
One?
My stream deck isn't working.
Oh.
Sorry. That was worth... like... 5.1?
Oh, fuck.
Just
Out of 10?
because it wasn't really... I feel like most people wouldn't know what's going on with that. I don't know anything about Smug Bug, really, so...
Well, I didn't either when I saw him shitting his pants. So.
Oh, true. I mean, all I heard was shitting pants, and also I did see that Twitter post about a hat. So yeah, that's it. Passing familiarity.
All right,
yes.
Max, it is time.
The time has come.
Your time.
I'm going to disappear. Max,
Go.
you have 1 hour. I'm going to catch a spider.
Okay. Oh, you've got an hour.
All right, so it gets real now. Wait, we gotta do President Sunday.
Okay. I'm gonna tweet out. I am debating Aiko and Demonmama for an hour right now.
For
I
Dan,
decided the
happy
hour,
birthday
right?
to the best streamer in the galaxy.
Wow.
Also
no,
buy my dance
but
stocks on
not
Manifold.
specifically, but I could make some proposals, or I don't know if there's anything that.
Well, today,
No.
contrary to my usual position, I am playing a very passive role in that I am supposed to be the recipient of topics. So, why don't you make the opening volley, and then I will decide where I fall on the issue, since it's a three-way. Because I don't have any topic in particular.
Is the factory
Like,
getting
I
finished tonight? Well, my
deliberately
final
came
factory, or
unprepared
not my
because,
final factory,
you know.
my other factory is getting demolished, which has been taking me all
because
fucking night.
You don't want to. Yeah.
I did most of it off stream.
I got you. Do you have any thoughts before I make some suggestions, Max?
Pedophiles, mass shooters, and gender are
Mm.
the only things
And
I
what was the last thing? that you said?
Gender. Gender.
Oh.
They're the only things I know. I'll talk about anything you want.
Gender.
Whatever.
Gender is a big thing that I have been I think is maybe the most relevant of your takes. Are you down for
Happy birthday,
blood?
Steven.
For stuff like drone demolition, you just run the game
Also
overnight.
down for
No, because I've got to be like emptying boxes and
This is
shit.
the
I don't have
live
my
stream.
enough
So
storage.
this is the blood that where we're doing the blood where it's gonna.
This is a hotly contested topic in the Factorio community, okay? One of the most debated topics. When you're tearing down old bases and setting up new ones, do you try to conserve the materials of the old base, or do you just dump them all? Because I'm trying to like get all these old mats to like flow into the new base, which takes more work, but I don't know if you actually should bother doing it. I bet it's probably not efficient time-wise, but it feels bad just wasting them all.
Specifically have to do about like whether or not is this like a I don't believe in trans people type, or what type of
Here's what we're gonna do. I am gonna moderate this. MrGirl, take a couple minutes. Take a couple minutes.
Did you guys see my girl Andrea, the $1 million baby? Fucking
Was on YouTube while working and saw that you were live. Happy birthday, dude. Thanks for all the content this past year.
She was a monster. She was an absolute monster last night. She got robbed. I've never seen somebody get robbed for a victory by the ref so hard. He was definitely in Putin's pocket, okay? Unbelievable.
To outline your contention.
Wait,
About
hold
what?
on. I didn't even explain. Yes, exactly. What this is. So, you can correct me after this if I am not representing this very well.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
from what I understand, your takes are you call yourself a gender abolitionist, or you have at some point, because you think that there should not be gender. It should be just male and female, right?
Yeah, somebody debated me on this and convinced me to switch it to gender pressure abolitionist. I think voluntary gender is okay, but the thing I'm against is societal pressure to have a gender. Or
To
Seen
believe
Elon
in it.
Musk's tweet this morning?
So
No,
you're-
Elon is actually unhinged, dude. The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. I've said this before a lot in regards to my life. Hold on, like 6 topics just popped in my head at once. I always get very weary when successful people give you like the one secret piece of advice or the one tip for how they became successful. Because I always wonder, like, how much of it was just you getting lucky, you know? Was it really like, and I have a really hard time in my mind ascribing the differences between this was skill and this was luck. This was skill and this was luck. It's very hard too. Like when I look at my own history, like I had the computer knowledge to do everything that needed to be done to make streaming work back then. And that's a skill. But I wasn't the only one. I'm sure there were a lot of other people. I say a lot in terms of like the absolute number of people on the planet that could do it. And also, if I would have been born 5 years later, like this shit would have all been solved anyway. So in terms of like my entrance into streaming, like how much was skill versus how much was luck, I really don't know the answer to that. Like, I don't know if it's like probably like 50-50 luck and preparation. Or was it like 95% luck and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time? When I see these people like Elon, it makes me start to think that a lot of success in life is just luck. Or it's like, I can't reconcile, like, was it just his initial PayPal investment and he got lucky? And then he's got like passion projects and he found the right devs. It feels like some of my, like there are some really important contributions I've made to the landscape of streaming that were just luck. Like my website, for instance. The guy that originally worked on that scenes in chat, like I think that guy is like a 1 in a million dev or like a 1 in 10 million dev. I didn't find him because I was like super talented at finding help at the time, and I didn't even do content that like revolved around attracting talented developers. He just happened to be somebody that was in my community, right? So then I just wonder if everything in life is just all luck. And then I look at Elon and I'm like, yeah. What Stambit was doing for his time was amazing. Oh yeah, Stambit was, yeah, really good too, yeah. Yeah, and then I don't know. And then I look at, yeah, and then I look at Elon and I'm like, it really is all luck. Because Elon is just so, like, Elon is shitposting at my mom's level on Twitter. And then the way that he's posting, I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I have the feeling that, like, if I were to ask Elon, like, hey, do you know how a vaccine works? Like, can you give me a decently in-depth explanation, like a little bit more than basic? I don't know if he could explain it to me. If I were to ask him, like, what did the Republic, like, if I were to give him the same questions that I gave Connor yesterday, what did the Republicans or what did the Democrats actually do that was revealed in the Twitter leaks as bad? I don't think he could actually say anything. I don't know what his level of engagement on the topic seems to be, like, juvenile. But this guy's like a billionaire and he owns Twitter now. I don't know. It just seems so weird. Do you see the video of him getting booed when he showed up at the Chappelle stand-up? I didn't. Link me that. It'll make me feel good. Technically, it was 90% cheers and 10% boos, except during quiet periods, but still there's a lot of boos. Which is a first for me in real life. It's almost as if I've offended SF's unhinged leftists. Why is he at this show?
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and booze, I see.
Wow, Anti-Lord Blue, thanks for the $50.
Elon.
Hey, Dave.
Controversy, buddy.
Weren't expecting this, were you?
Okay. Musk was booed heavily when he was invited. Oh, this is one of Keffel's piece of shit friends. Went on stage by the show last night. He fucked around and is quickly finding out. Sycophantic Twitter users are a small minority. Even Chappelle's transphobic fans don't like this jackass.
But you are okay with
Do you remember? Do 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 do. Look at this stupid fuck. The crowd didn't like this joke from Elon.
Happy birthday.
Oh my god, I'm cringing. Oh god. Why did Chappelle have him on? Is he just like sucking up or?
Let me be clear. It is Stephen's birthday. Happy birthday, Stephen. This is the year that the neoliberal establishment is brought forward.
Joe relinquishes power to me. Resident for life.
Hi, Destiny. Happy 40th birthday. Feels birthday man.
Oh, shit! Good strat. I did double time with my other hand. That's helpful. I scored 911. Someone send this to fucking Steve. Steven boy.
Assalamu alaikum.
What's his high score? I scored 911.
Okay, guys. Let's do this, okay?
Happy B-Day, Stephen. You know, a real birthday boy would be able to pop off a 900 right now. Is it really your birthday?
Happy open it to you. Happy open it to you.
What?
Happy open it to you. Happy open it, dear Stephen. Happy open it to you. Open. Remember, the slow breath penetrates the birthday candle flame.
Okay, that. Oh my god. I fucking hit my Windows key.
Happy birthday from a Steven to Steven.
Bro, what is going on here? Hold on. I just need to... Okay, fuck it. I'll take it. Jesus. What are you talking about, Chun?
So like, I mean,
Okay. What are these guys talking about?
With non-binary.
Tap,
people,
tap,
right?
tap,
I'm okay
tap.
with all people.
Okay, so I feel like when I've seen
I'm pretty sure Musk was quoting Chappelle's own show. Yeah, thank you. We know. I'm rich, bitch. Yes. Thank you. I am indeed a boomer, aka millennial. I am aware of the quote. That's why it was cringe. Okay.
you have, okay, I don't want to load the questions.
Load them up. Hey, it's the bloodbath. Load them up.
Okay, I have seen, and I don't want to take it too far in case Demonmama wants to like not do this.
I don't think a lot of people here know that. Wow, 5 good sub. Thanks to Shargan. I think it was it from the Oprah skit? Or it might have been from the reparations skit. Or he might have said it in both. Or I might be wrong about. Hold on.
I'm rich! Bitch!
Are we cool with this, Demonmama?
Yeah, of course I'm fine with this. I've done this song and dance a very long time, so.
So it's
We've both made a lot of money talking about this.
Oh,
well,
you need to increase your audio. Apparently, you're kind of quiet, Max. Bring it up a little bit. Well, it looks like the levels are fine on my end, but you are a little bit quiet. I think this is you're more soft spoken. Continue, please.
So
it's actually funny when it comes to the matter of money. I don't really make a lot of money from my political content. In fact, the most lucrative streams I believe I've ever had in my entire career have been my gaming streams, where I know for a fact that by far the most lucrative project I've ever undertaken on this entire channel was the first of all the charity stream I did with Keffels, and secondly my gaming stream for Cult of the Lamb, where which is not yet complete. That's a long and in process thing. I've never made more money on anything than I have offering people to be able to donate a small amount of money, literally any amount, to be able to be a critter in my Cult of the Lamb cult. And that was the most lucrative project I've ever undertaken. So yeah, I wouldn't really characterize it as me having made a lot of money off of talking about gender, but I can understand that if, because I'm trans, there might be a perception that everything that I do is gender because I'm trans. So I guess I can see where you're coming from with that.
Well, I was also just trying to kind of make a joke about the idea that like we're working,
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I feel like some of these conversations get framed as like, do you feel like talking about this right now? And like, absolutely, if you want to set boundaries around what you're comfortable talking about or how you're comfortable talking about things, that totally makes sense. But it's like, it's not like we're just like sitting in a coffee shop talking. We're the thousands of dollars. Lucy's mother is.
But you're doing I appreciate your soft touch at this point, but I want to throw out a thing that you did, and then you can go from there, because right now there's no context as to my contention, right?
Yeah.
You think me having a soft touch is making you look like mean for no reason, but you're going to give context.
Oh, I don't care about being mean. I'm not trying to be mean right now.
You're barking up the wrong tree if you think Aiko cares about being mean. Aiko's very capable of being mean.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like she's one of those people, and when I say I feel like, I mean she's done this multiple times, is to where she will be like really savage about me, and then every time I show up on shows, it seems like she's lost her voice. It actually triggers the out of me, but...
See, thank you. So one thing in particular that I remember, when I think you first talked to Zonia, like for the first time, and you said that you were not pleased that you will respect pronouns, but you are angry about it because you feel like you're being forced to lie.
Yes, I said that.
And you were not, and she was like, maybe we can like kind of meet somewhere in the middle, like as we like get to know each other. And you're like, nope. You're like, the pendulum is swinging. I don't know, something like that. It's swinging back. I don't know.
I don't think I said anything about the pendulum, but I did say...
I did. I don't remember a lot of things in order, but I remember that.
Okay.
You know, I kind of feel a little bit... Does anybody here watch, not to like distract immediately, anybody watch Big Joel? Because Big Joel did this video recently about like opinions that would ruin your life to have. And I feel like this is one of those. Like, if you genuinely, truly believe that you're lying about somebody else's pronouns, like if that's your true belief, like that's got that says something about like the world that you live in, that you feel like you're like you have some sort of control or say in what other people's identity is. And I feel like if you genuinely hold that morally requires you to like, I don't know, digest a lot of things. Like, how do you lie about a
Fuck. There's a lot of interesting conversation to be had here, but I don't know if any of the people on this panel, maybe MrGirl, are capable of having it. The thing is that pronouns don't really require you to take somebody else's word for their identity, right? A pronoun is a substitution for a noun that shows how you view that particular thing. If I see somebody, and let's say I find out their name is Gabriel, but I look at them and it looks like a woman, and somebody's like, oh, what do you think about Gabriel? Then my next response will be like, oh, I think he or she is a cool person. When I use that he or she, I'm not really going by what did they identify as or what I think, because they never told me any pronouns. The he or she would just be the representation that I have in my mind of that person. And if I think of them as a woman, I say, oh, she. If I think of them as a man, I would say he. But the weird thing about pronouns is that I feel like if you ask somebody their pronouns, or if somebody gives you their pronouns, you've kind of defeated the whole purpose of having pronouns. Because like the reason why people want to be pronouned correctly is because they want to make sure that that mental image that you have of them is the same mental image they have of themselves. But as soon as you require pronouns, you tell people pronouns, you've completely and totally defeated the entire purpose of like what a pronoun is. At that point, it's almost just become another noun, which is meaningless, right? The pronoun isn't a stand-in for a person's identity. The identity is the name, and everybody respects each other's names. The pronoun is a stand-in for, it shows the mental image in your mind of how you view that other person, right?
pronoun?
Well,
I don't understand that worldview.
Do you want me to answer it?
I would like you to answer, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple layers of what I would call lies. One is, what even is a pronoun? If you believe that a pronoun is a kind of reflexive reflection of what you perceive somebody else's gender to be.
Oh, fuck. Okay. He's copying my take 100%. Actually, he probably could have already had this take too. I'm just joking.
But other people believe that pronouns are a identity that they choose, or an identity that they have that they tell you about that they didn't choose. One of those two. That's the kind of the progressive thing of like what a pronoun is, right?
I mean, I think a pronoun is just a piece of language that we use in many different ways, right?
When I talk, I really truly am thinking of the words that I'm saying, and I'm trying to make sure that like I'm conveying my thoughts in a concise and precise manner, right? I'm trying not to be flowery with my language, and I'm trying to make sure that the things I say are making sense. I never just pick like random words so that I can have superfluous speech patterns that are indicative of a higher blah, blah, blah. I gotta do shit like I just want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. I want to make sure I'm being relatively concise. I don't like to be very wordy. It triggers the out of me when people say things and I feel like they're just saying random words. What Demonmama just did was random words. That was random words.
That's the kind of the progressive thing of like what a pronoun is, right?
I mean, I think a pronoun is just a piece of language that we use in many different ways, right?
A pronoun is a piece of language we use in many different ways. Maybe she expands on that, but that statement means nothing. What does that mean? Like everything in language is a thing that we use in many different ways. What was the point of that?
Yeah, but the way progressives use it usually is, I will tell you my pronouns. A pronoun is something I know about myself. Whereas I don't believe that's what a pronoun is. I think a pronoun is the word you reach for when you're talking about something masculine or feminine or a male or a female. But it's the word you are plucking out of your brain to describe that thing. And I believe,
okay, I don't want you to I don't want to interrupt you too quick, but I will note that you have conveniently left out it, I, and you, which are all
gender,
and we.
yeah, of course, gender.
I and you. First of all, shut the f up, okay? I and you don't convey any more additional information about your internal, state of mind about a particular object, because I and you are not gendered, right? So I and you aren't the same in this conversation. He and she are unique, and that they convey an additional piece of information about a person. Yeah, and I try to compare the names to like usted and te or whatever. I think those are the two words, but I don't even know. I don't know enough about different Spanish. I know Korean. I think most languages have they're formal and informal pronouns or things that you can refer to people. Like those would be examples of things. I don't think we have that in English, right? Oh, dude, not they. Fuck. I don't think we have in English different pronouns for different levels of familiarity, do we? I don't think we do. Maybe miss or ma'am. Maybe. Oh, and usted is you. No, tú is you. Both are you, right? I don't remember, bro. You used to have that for royalty? Maybe. Yeah, okay, sorry. Anyway, he and she convey an additional piece of information, so they're separate from you and I. They wouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence. It doesn't make sense.
We're talking about gender, he, her, she. We're talking about gendered pronouns.
But you can't just do that. That is sort of cheating the topic, right? Because
I hate Demonmama because she's trans and she has no understanding of almost any trans issue. It drives me crazy listening to her talk about trans issues because she has no understanding about any of them. I noticed this in her conversation with Doe as well, where I'm like, bro, oh, no, sorry, not bro, bruh. Or what is the gender neutral version? I don't know what the fuck pronouns they fucking use. But she just has no understanding of anything relating to any trans issue. She's hasn't put any thought into it at all. Which for a normal trans person is fine, I guess, because I wouldn't expect a normal trans person to be oh, I'm gonna philosophically investigate, blah, blah, blah. But if you're a trans person, you do online content revolving around a lot of trans issues, I would expect you to have some idea of what the fuck you're talking about. But she consistently says the dumbest, most vapid, shallow, stupid things ever relating to trans issues. It drives me fucking crazy.
Because if you say that, we're only talking about 2 out of the 7 different types of pronouns that are regularly used, in addition to less regularly used pronouns.
I think it's
kind of weird to frame it that way, right?
I think in the context of, and Sunday, I hope you'll back me up on this. I think in the context of the gender debate conversation that we're currently having, I assume when I'm talking about someone's pronouns that we're referring to the preferred pronouns and the
no, actually you're going to be a little bit disappointed here, but I'll explain why, because I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, well, I want to be able to finish what I'm fucking saying.
Oh, we'll finish, please.
Okay, great. So my point is, what is a pronoun? What is a gendered pronoun? The progressive brain will tell you that a pronoun is known by the individual and can be disclosed. My view is that gender is in the eye of the beholder, and that a pronoun is a reflection of the person's view of the person that they're talking about.
Yes.
I believe that this is sort of held by progressives. I think they want to kind of have it both ways because
This is, MrGirl should lean way more strong on this. This is not like an opinion. This is a fact. This is what pronouns are. This is what they do.
me using somebody else's preferred pronouns gives them a feeling that they're being perceived a certain way, even though I'm only using them because I'm being told to use them, which kind of counteracts the
This is my take exactly,
of
yeah.
them being perceived that way. Really, I'm just saying it because you're telling me to say it.
Okay. Can I retort quickly?
We can't see you, by the way.
No, that's because I don't have my virtual camera on. Because if I put my
You're
virtual
the moderator, you can't retort.
Oh, but you well actually I have to.
moderator.
I have to a little bit though because you asked me to back you up. So you have involved me.
I only want you to back me up.
The moderator.
I only want you to back me up in the sense that I don't believe that Demonmama was actually confused about what I meant when I said pronouns. I think she
was, and I'm gonna back you up. I'm gonna back you up by helping you with some clarity. So here's the mistake you're making.
I don't want to know what mistake I'm
yes,
making.
you do.
What I'm saying.
But you did.
I want to. No, I didn't.
All right.
I didn't.
What?
I really didn't. So the lies. What is a pronoun? There's a meta lie that happens when I agree to use somebody's preferred pronouns. I am agreeing to I'm what?
You're specifically gender related pronouns and not
gender. Yes, sorry.
things.
I'm sorry for the ambiguity. When I agree to use somebody's gender related preferred gender pronouns for gender purposes, I am inherently signing on to a narrative that that's what a gender pronoun is, and I don't believe that. So that's a lie. Secondly, there's a lower level lie of I'm pretending that I think the person is the gender that I'm saying they are. And I'm pretending that I'm doing this from like a self-determined bottom of my heart place. So with Zonia, I'm trying to be honest and say like, when somebody has to, the moment you tell me your pronouns, once I adopt them, I am agreeing to lie to you.
All right. That's a long statement. I'm going to retort because you did say you're willing to debate all of us, and you did address me at one point. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this one retort. I am.
You're a fucking scumbag.
I am the.
You know that?
I am the fucking.
You're in the
devil.
rogues gallery right
Do you
now.
identify as a scumbag, or is that?
You see Demonmama right above me. I am the demon patriarch.
Okay.
Okay.
You're a fucking scumbag.
I don't know what that means. Well, she's mama, so that's the opposite, right? Yeah.
A patriarch?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean patriarch like of the family?
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
You have to understand that sometimes you say things and it's like true, but also that's not the first thing that someone thinks of.
To MrGirl's point, you're conflating two different things here. Pronouns may signify what someone perceives about themselves, but first and foremost, people's preferred pronouns are simply that. They are, in a social setting, this is how I would like to be preferred. And insofar as these are not things that, for example, can be reasonably understood by someone with any sort of practical experience of their local culture to be like attempts specifically to cause offense to the people they're talking to and not sincere avowals of how they'd like to be spoken to. And there are obvious cases.
You're the worst moderator.
No, I'm not just moderating.
I see that.
But
I think you got to pick. I think you got to choose one. Listen.
But hang on,
Demonmama. The fact that Sunday is white knighting you, I think, is one of the most gender.
I mean, technically,
possibly do.
Technically,
that his misogyny extends to everyone.
I've been inappropriate in saying that I will only moderate because the donation was for me to be involved specifically in the discussion.
It was highly inappropriate.
Okay.
So the second you realize you had something to fucking.
You're
say.
right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I will say this. White knighting aside. You were the one who did say, "Help me, President Sunday. You're my only hope."
True.
And so
I did.
Yeah. You mentioned me as if I was a part of the conversation.
No, I mentioned you as if you were the moderator.
No, but you mentioned the moderator as if he was on side, and you tried to leverage. You tried to leverage my personality and support.
You basically pulled
I think it's
Princess
totally
Leia.
appropriate to say to the moderator, I don't believe that this is being said in good faith, and I think that this is a distraction.
Wait a
and I
minute.
would like
Wait,
to
that was
finish
what you were
I'm
trying
saying.
to say? You were trying to imply that I was being in bad faith?
Yes.
I was simply trying to point out the fact that I think it's an
Well, I know
unfair.
you're not going to agree that you were being in bad faith. That's why I appealed to the
About
moderator.
what?
But the moderator is now
Oh
contaminated.
my
Now we have
god,
no moderator.
this conversation.
About what specifically? Which part that made you
That-
think she was
that
bad
she didn't
faith?
know that she didn't know what pronouns I was talking about.
Oh, no,
Now-
no, no.
I
She knows
present
what you're talking
the
about.
aristocrats.
Right, no,
That's what
I mean-
this whole stream has been so far.
This is the thing. It's clarifying. Like,
I don't.
knew
Yeah,
what you
that's
meant.
the
It's
bad
just-
faith. I think that's bad faith.
no, the difference that there are gender.
How am I
related
ever
pronouns.
supposed to have a conversation if people call me bad faith for not even asking a clarifying question?
I was
but
just
for-
asking questions. Okay, Nick Fuentes.
Okay.
I think the way you're supposed to have the
you want
conversation.
to talk about bad faith, bro? Wait a minute.
think
Aren't
the
you
way-
on, like a thing about doesn't it hurt your case against Nick Fuentes? Like you have a big thing against Nick Fuentes, right? Doesn't it hurt your case to just like randomly compare me to him?
No,
Wow. All right.
I don't
Interesting.
think so. It
All right.
hurts- it
Cool.
hurts
Good to
your
know.
case.
Good to know.
Anyway, the way that
mean-
you would have that conversation is with a moderator, but we don't have one.
Very well. I will be a moderator. Mr. Girl, you've spoken at length. Demonmama.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Retort.
Excellent, thank you. So, I don't really understand the idea that you can lie, that like lying about pronouns is like even a thing. The way that our society uses pronouns, obviously changes drastically over time.
No, no, I don't think it ever has actually. I don't think Demonmama has ever thought about these issues before, which is just mind-blowing to me. It's strange because some of the things that she says feels like she's never even thought about being trans before. Like, I don't know how, and I feel like if you are trans, I feel like there's going to be some deeper level of self-reflection about societal norms than like what a cisgender person would be like, because you're cis, you don't fucking think about like pronouns and shit. But some of the things she says makes me think she's never even thought about being trans before. It's so mind-blowing to me. I don't understand.
Like things like the singular they come in and out of style, and now there's numerous reasons why we would use that. I don't know what I don't know like what sort of rule of grammar would be violated by simply saying, how do we determine pronouns? Well, some people are making the case that
Can you be specific? Well, like this idea that pronouns are part of an identity, that like pronouns are like a thing that you declare to other people. That's traditionally not how pronouns have ever been used. That's just not the case, ever. Pronouns aren't part of your identity. It's not like another name for yourself. It's like a convention of grammar that also carries with it an additional piece of identifying information reflective of the mind state of the person using the pronoun, right? If a person is introduced to somebody and then later on they refer to that person as he or she, they're using a shorthand for that person that also reflects like an internal state of mind they have about that person, a thought they have about that person, an additional piece of information, namely the gender piece. That's what pronouns are. This whole like, oh, well, a pronoun is just an identity, blah, 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 blah. No, they're not. That's just not true at all. And anybody that's ever thought about pronouns, I think, or putting some time thinking, why they want to be called certain pronouns, should know that. They should know better than this, to have this type of like silly, like this is what I would expect a cis person who's trying to be an ally but has never thought about these issues and is trying to like defend trans people. I would expect them to say something like this. Like that's what it sounds like.
since pronouns are a part of your expressed identity, it's polite to...
Pronouns are not a part of your expressed identity. It's a convention of grammar that, again, I don't know, I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's just so silly.
Acknowledge that people have agency over their identity, and therefore
you don't typically have agency over your identity. That's not true either. You can't identify as anything, right? You are a human. You are a certain height. You have a certain amount of money. You have a certain occupation. You have like identities are not things that you can just like choose. Like, let me be more clear. You can choose to do things that change your identity, but you can't just choose an identity. So for instance, I can't identify as a scientist, but I could choose to go to school to become a scientist, right? I can't choose to be a carpenter, but I could choose, or I can't choose to identify as a carpenter, but I could choose to do like the right training and things that would eventually be like, oh, okay, now he is a carpenter, right? Like,
or they can say what their pronouns are instead of just jumping the gun on whatever your sort of jack off observations are of what you think their gender is. And also, I'll point that I do find it a bit. Well,
her time's not up.
I thought I got my 2 minutes.
Yeah, you got 2 minutes. Continue.
Yeah. So like, I don't really understand the perspective that you could. I mean, I guess I understand where you could come from that perspective, but I don't understand what it gets you, or how it functions any better than the alternative model. Your model is one purely of a sort of very, very personalized, selfish comfort that says I have the right to sort of determine what other people's identities are against their will, whereas the alternative model,
it's the frustrating part too is that like it's really a basic for as much as I mentioned like propositional logic, I don't know any of it. So I just reference it and pretend I know, but I don't actually know any formal prop logic. Propositional logic, I think, is just like really basic, kind of like algebraic math statements that like philosophers will use. Well, and mathematicians will use too, I believe. That's like propositional logic, right? So like the really common one is like if A, then B, if B, then C, therefore if A, then C. Stuff like that is like prop logic, right? I'm pretty sure through like some very basic mathematical properties or through some very basic like prop logic, like you can show, like you can demonstrate rationally that a thing can't just be a thing because somebody identifies as the thing, right? You're creating like, you're just creating like absurd worlds there where everybody's identity is whatever they want it to be. And it's just like, that doesn't make any sense, right? There has to be some underlying fact of the matter for you to identify something. Otherwise these things all just become pointless, right?
The progressive model that you like to call is simply saying, hey, we choose our names, we choose how we dress, we choose what it.
I hate the comparison between names. People do that. Demonmama in this law. We're like, oh, well, you can choose your own name, can't you? It's that a name is fundamentally different. A name is by definition whatever you want it to be. That's how we identify what names are, right? A name is by definition any word you want it to be. But that's not the same as like your gender or your occupation or your income level or your height or your age, right?
We let other people know what's inside of us, since that's the only way that identities are built at all. Why don't we just respect people's pronouns? Why don't we just let people determine what pronoun they believe fits well out of however many pronouns there are? And when it seems like there's basically infinite at this point, since they're quite easy to generate. I don't really get it. And also, it seems to me that given your stated position in the beginning,
you're on time. 5 seconds. Wrap it up.
Oh, 5 seconds. Okay, sorry. There's been 2 interruptions. So, given your statement in the beginning, in which you said that gender, you're like a gender abolitionist. You don't want.
Wait, is Morocco playing football right now?
Gender forced on people. That flies in direct conflict with your desire to force gender on people via pronouns.
Thank you.
So you've got a hypocrisy and another thing going on.
MrGirl, 2.5 minutes to retort, please.
Force gender, hypocrisy, jack off. Okay.
Please don't do that right now.
Yes, thank you.
Wait, please don't
Don't
do
ever
what?
tell me not to jack off.
I can tell you not to jack off.
I know we just met, but I'll tell you one thing people learn about me very quickly. Don't ever tell me not to jack off. Okay, so you said a jack off perception of someone else's gender. This gets to what I was talking about when I said the meta lie, which is, what is gender? I believe that gender is the perception itself. That is gender. You believe that gender is an identity chosen like a name. I don't believe you can choose your gender the way that you can choose.
That's a very interesting.
Hang on.
Position,
2 minutes.
but-
2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Continue.
Okay, so yes, I agree that what I'm saying, if you could choose your gender, would be, as you're saying, aggressive and bullheaded and stupid or whatever. But it's the premise that I disagree with of what gender even is. I think gender is the perception of somebody's masculinity or femininity, much like the perception of somebody's height or the perception of somebody's attractiveness.
Stealing my arguments from the future. Disgusting.
These are all, I guess height is objective, but these are all, you can't identify as tall. You can't identify as attractive. I guess you can, but you can't compel other people to identify you as tall. You can ask them to. And in polite company, if somebody who's not that tall and somebody you don't know well says, well, I'm very tall, you're not going to say, no, you're fucking not, because it's rude. You'll say, oh, yes, you are. Or you'll say nothing, which is where I'm at with pronouns. I think it's rude and maybe even inhumane to misgender somebody, so I don't. But when talking about it in a theoretical sense, I will acknowledge that I'm being nice. But I think wait.
20 seconds.
Stop. I have the right to determine. I'm never done. I'm done when Sunday.
Your clock is still ticking.
That's fine. When Sunday puts a towel over my head and pours water on it, I'm done. I have the right to determine what somebody else's identity is. Again, this gets back to the idea that gender is an identity. I don't agree with that. I don't think gender is an identity. I don't think gender identity makes any sense. I think that's insane. I think that's crazy talk. And so
we can say gender is an identity. You just can't like choose it, right?
Then, therefore, the forced gender hypocrisy, your charge to me doesn't make any sense, because the charge of hypocrisy doesn't make sense, because I'm not saying that I'm forcing somebody else's gender on them. I'm saying that gender is the perception, therefore it can't be forced on somebody else. It's happening in my head. Your gender is happening in my head, not yours.
All right, thank you, Max. Okay, Aiko or Demonmama, which of you would like to retort to that?
I mean, I'm cool with either of us. I'm happy to let Aiko go. If you got something, I got stuff I got to say too, but go for it.
Yeah, I just think
2 minutes, okay? Go.
I think that we should probably separate the concept of pronouns and gender, because it's not, you can be like cisgender and use different pronouns. It doesn't,
Cringe.
it doesn't, there aren't like rules to that. So when you use someone's pronouns, you're not saying like, oh, I acknowledge that this is your gender, because you still don't necessarily know what their identity is. It's just the pronouns in relationship to their gender. Does that make sense at all?
It makes sense.
I'm saying, just my words.
I don't agree with it, but I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Okay, cool. I was wondering why exactly, like, so you base it on like biological sex at all? Do you think, is that the premise, or just like what you look like, whatever you look closest to, that you as a person who isn't looking at their DNA or whatever, that does science matter, or does your perception matter?
I think that if you meet somebody you don't know, and you were asked to, even if you're progressive, and you're asked to choose a pronoun for them, there's probably one that you would like to use. He, she, or they. It's one you'll reach for based on your perception of them. And we progressives ask each other's pronouns because we say, I know my perception of you.
I don't know. I don't care about progressives. Fuck them.
Okay, so
edgy.
Normal people.
Yeah, just people.
Most of the world is not progressive. Most of the world just says the pronoun that comes to mind, because the pronoun is a reflection of the gender, which is a reflection of the person they're talking about. So that is the same.
Yeah, but most of the world has. Those are large.
I'm not saying they're right, because there's a lot of them. I totally buy that progressives might be right, everybody else might be wrong. That's totally, the numbers don't matter. But I'm just saying that I am like them. So the way I use he or she is reflective of what I'm perceiving. That said, there are trans people, there are trans women or trans men who, based on how they look, would elicit, even if I know they're trans, me wanting to use the pronoun that they probably prefer. But that is, again, a reflection of how I'm perceiving them.
Right.
Rather than a and probably social norms at this
Like,
point.
so not an objective, it's like a subjective thing for you.
Yeah.
It's vibes based.
You don't want to, so like whatever you perceive it to be, regardless of what the reality is, regardless of whether they actually aren't trans or not. So
It's based on if they
the
pass.
backlash,
God, these conversations
are
take
you
so long. Holy
upset if
shit.
someone pushes back on, like, are you upset?
I've got two things running in my head. One is,
Okay.
what word does the person want me to use? And what word does the people around me want me to use? Like if I'm in a room with like 5 trans people, we're all having lunch, and I'm not going to misgender another trans person just because like they're not there. I understand that by misgendering them, I'm also misgendering everybody around me. So like I'm not going to misgender people in public, basically.
Yeah.
But
So
I also
I'm-
have an internal clock of like what gender I think people are or what word I want to
don't-
use, which is
So
which is
real
separate.
quick on this, the reason why I said that the reason why I brought up the hypocrisy thing is because this seems to me to be in direct conflict with your aforementioned claim that you don't want gender forced on anybody. Because if you believe that like people make assumptions about the gender and the pronouns about people based on their appearances, that is by definition only possible because of a pre-existing schema, a thing that you can compare to, a pre-existing set of norms that are forced on you and on other people. So to me, it seems that if you genuinely do believe that you don't want gender to be forced on anybody, and pronouns, as you argued in your initial segment, pronouns do refer to gender in your opinion, then it seems like it would be inconsistent of you to then say, well, I think that I'm lying. Whereas instead it would be honest for you to eschew that pre-existing forced construct that's being forced on people, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that make your views more consistent?
I don't think so, because indeed, Demonmama. Indeed.
Very quickly, Max, the person who uncanceled your cancel would like to come on to steelman your argument either 15 minutes after the
That's going to trigger Max
conversation or right now. I leave it to you.
I just have one thing to say.
Just hang on one sec. Max, would you
It's
prefer
up to
it
you, Sunday.
at the end?
Oh, shit. Okay.
I would like to bring him on now.
He
if
hasn't
that's all right
even
with
he
you.
hasn't even gotten his whole argument.
no, I would like
grab
to
somebody to
introduce this for
steelman
the
it.
time
That would
and
trigger the
then-
fuck out of me.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, if you guys don't want to, I want to respond.
You absolutely can. I'm going to ask him to be quiet when he comes in, but then afterwards he will speak. Is that reasonable?
That's up to Demonmama.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with whatever. I just want to make sure we can have conversations so that the audience
Absolutely.
can
Yeah.
understand what.
Yeah. Continue, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a weird thing with trans people where they both want to be in the existing box marked man or woman, and they want to change themselves to move towards the box, and they also want to stretch the box to move towards themselves. And the bigger the what'd you say?
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
Well, hear me
But,
out.
yeah, sure.
The definition of what could be masculine and feminine is definitely being expanded by progressives. But also,
Progressives and trans people aren't the same thing.
that's true.
Yeah.
But just please,
Sure.
hear me out.
I'm trying to.
Okay. Also, individual trans people will change their appearance or their names or their pronouns in order to get into that other box. So both are happening at the same time. If we totally disintegrate the box and we say masculine and feminine mean nothing anymore, then suddenly being trans doesn't even really mean anything. It doesn't make any sense. The pronouns are only meaningful in that they are somewhat tethered to those forced gender expectations that you're talking about. So and so that this person who debated me was correct in saying that I'm not really a gender abolitionist. I'm okay with gender existing and gender norms existing, but I'm not okay with how we treat people when they don't follow those gender norms. So I don't like the way we treat young men and women who don't fit our idea of what young men and women should be like. And I think that is horrible, and I think that result.
Daily reminder, if you're bored and you ever want to fight a whole bunch of people for no fucking reason, just post a random piece of art on Twitter and go like, oh my god, an AI do this, it was so beautiful, and you'll have 50 million fucking artists showing up. Even if it's not AI art, they'll all show up to like fight you on like everything that you stand for and believe in. Did Destiny watch this shit?
Who lock it? Who this? Is that Destiny?
Jesus.
Is that Destiny? Fuck wrong with you, little nigga? Okay. Come here, Destiny.
Destiny said this every day since coming back. Yeah, because every day I see a new fucking AI fight. I see it happening every day. People get so fucking mad.
Come here, bitch. Round one. Come here, bitch. Fight. I'm not even gonna play with you. Lock it.
Jesus Christ.
And a lot of the like gender dysphoria that people experience.
I don't approve of any of this. Okay.
Can I just like ask a couple, like just clarifying questions?
Jesus.
So if you don't mind,
Max, do you mind?
No, I don't mind.
All right, I could go.
I wanted to.
Dude, true, Kraken. That should be the new go-to response. Whenever somebody posts some shit that they drew on Twitter, be like, "Oh my god, that looks so cool." Did you use did you use Google's diffusion thing, or did you use like the GP801 or whatever? Yeah, just like make up AIs and ask them if they drew it to trigger the fuck out of them. Oh fuck! I wish I had a Twitter account. That's such a great idea.
No, it seems
is that a Midjourney one?
You want to.
Oh, sorry.
You want to have
Diffusion
those two boxes expanded more to fit different people in it that you.
Well, some people don't want to fit the
that
box,
what
right?
you.
Like when Prince wears like a purple suit.
Right. But
he wants to be outside. He wants to say, "I'm a man, but I'm not a man."
Right, exactly. So you want people to still identify as a man or a woman, right? And
I want people to do whatever they want.
Okay, so then when is it more like you feel like people are forcing you to do something? Like if you perceive someone being one way or another, that you feel like you're not allowed to have a choice, and it's not an autonomous thing for you? Is that what it is?
I'm okay with the social norms of this person really really wants you to think of them as a woman. So that's a preferred pronoun, right? So I want you to use the words that this person would associate with being a woman when you're talking to this person, so that you don't trigger their dysphoria, or so that you just feel like they make them feel accepted or loved or whatever. That I think that's okay. What I don't like is when it goes past that to...
Wait, real quick. If you have these cannons in orbit versus on the planet, does it make a difference? It doesn't, does it?
You need to actually genuinely believe these are the right words, not just the preferred words, but that they're correct. That trans women are women and trans men are men. They're not just people who want to be treated this way, and we're going to treat them this way because it's humane, and we all ask society to treat us in certain ways, and we will give them the same dignity that we give to everybody else.
There's a reason though why people are very like, you should respect people's pronouns and identity.
The reason I just said.
Understand, because like society.
I think I just said the reason. But what I think it goes too far is when when I'm told I have to actually genuinely believe trans women are literally women.
I'll give this to you, Demonmama.
Okay, so there's so many different things going on here. The first thing is a gender norm can only exist. A norm can only exist in the presence of enforcement of some form. Like a norm has to be enforced in some way. Otherwise, it's not a norm anymore. It's just a thing that can occur.
Wait, I don't think that's true.
Well, I think it is. I mean, otherwise, how can it become a norm if there's
Well, it
nothing?
can just be what most people do.
Adam and Danny, talk about your time on No Jump.
I got some shit to show you and tell you about from this weekend.
I would love to, but first I just want to ask you how you feel about the episode that came out last week, which is actually the same. It came out like 2 hours before we're filming this, where we interviewed Destiny. How did you feel about it? Did you have a good time? I thought we had a good time.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did 2 podcasts that day together. The first one, shaking off the rust a little bit, getting the yapper loosened up. And then when Destiny came on, I thought it was great. I think we had a sugar high, then a sugar crash that might have taken effect later in the episode.
But he's so stoic that he just like kind of refused to admit that the sugar was having any kind of effect on him.
I like that he played our game, though. At first, he seemed a little bit...
I feel like I've never gotten like the sugar effects or the caffeine effects. I think I understand the caffeine effects better now if I do it through the ADHD thing. I don't know about the sugar thing.
Too cool for school. But then slowly, he started nibbling on a blue Smurf.
Because he started nibbling. started back in the blue?
And started back in the blue. That was an important breakthrough.
And then...
Wait, why are my things not
Sorry.
picking this up? Hello?
Take one drag.
Of your clove cigarette, not marijuana.
What the fuck is that? Okay, he did the poop talk. I thought that was important.
That was important. Yeah.
We talked about poop, and he went with it, and he acknowledged that he doesn't normally get into that because his content is a little bit more highbrow, but he acknowledged that the poop content was cool. And then what I really liked was at the end, you could tell that he was like dying to ask me all these questions about sex. Just as like, oh, I'm talking to a person who has like a lot of data about what it's like sleeping with a lot of different women. And he just sort of realized like, oh, like I could ask him sort of like empirical data-driven questions, which I was very happy to be involved with that. Although we probably could have got further with it.
You guys had a good talk. What I wanted to ask him, and which I didn't, and I sort of regretted not asking him, I wanted to know what his sexual plans were for that week.
Jesus Christ.
I wanted to know what he had lined up, where he was going to have sex with it, and what kind of sex he was going to have.
I don't know if he would have let us in on the full.
Okay.
Like a popular thing is eating pizza in New York.
Maybe norm.
Maybe
Does that
norm
become
is,
a norm? I guess it depends on what you mean by norm.
Yeah, so I guess I would say like, I don't think people should be forced to eat pizza in New York, but if they like it, then have at it.
Yeah. So, so I understand what you're saying now. You're using norm as in like a common thing that occurs, as opposed to norm in the sort of more philosophical sense, where this is a thing that is sort of accepted as what is good for society.
I'm even okay with it being
I'm
okay with it being an expectation. I just don't like it being what happens when you break the expectation. It should not be a negative, punitive, psychologically abusive thing.
I'm getting so many mixed messages, because on one hand you say that it is inhumane and it is harmful, and yet you seem to think that having a definition of woman or man that is directly tied, or at least stringently tied to sex, at least from what I'm getting, and I could be wrong, but it seems like you think those things in and of themselves are good, despite the fact that that thing is that way of doing things is what produces the inhumanity that you previously mentioned. The idea that a man or a woman has to be tied to some strict set of rules, and if you break out of that, you're not that thing anymore, is the thing that a lot of people challenge. Now, you mentioned that you said that you think that trans people simultaneously try to move towards something, and also some try to pull the line towards themselves. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that is way too broad. I don't think that every single trans person, in fact, I think a lot of trans people never really aim to pull anything towards themselves. They simply want to be perceived, what is in a way that is authentic to themselves.
Wait,
well,
I feel like if
you're confusing the two types of people. The people who are saying that, when I say that there's people who aim to be perceived, I'm talking about trans people who are seeking out certain types of surgeries, who are seeking out certain types of styles. Now, let me just use myself as an example, because I don't
think that's a good idea.
Well, I think I should.
Well, I don't think it's good, because then I can't debate you. Because it's inhumane to disagree with you about yourself. I don't want to use any of us
23-month lease term. That's insane.
Well, I think that alienating the issue is impossible. Like, you talking about the issue in the abstract is inevitably making direct claims about about how you engage with us. So I think that, I mean,
Well,
maybe
we're
that's
all- we're all
right there.
talking
That right
about
there, your
gender.
refusal to be willing to be unwilling to entertain the that idea kind of reveals your hand, right? Which is that like
I'm
you
totally
view
willing
the
to
issue in the
entertain it.
abstract.
I'm just not willing to debate you about it. If you want me to interview you about your relationship with your body, I'd be happy to do that. But I am.
You guys moving to a better location? Could you just sign again? We are now. The problem is my current apartment's rent is going to be the same, but I completely lost my view of the city skyline because they're building another fucking building right here. That's why you hear the construction every single fucking day. So that's annoying, number one. Number two, Melina wants to just move to the beach. Because the only reason why I moved here was because Mooten and everybody lived here, and now everybody moved away in like 3 months of us being here. So why the fuck would I live? I live in a place called right now, it's called Little Havana, okay? So imagine there's like excitement here, excitement here, excitement here, and excitement here. And then imagine you live here where there's nothing, okay? This is where I live, okay? I live here and there's nothing here. I don't know why they chose this place to live, but there's just no reason to be here. So we're just moving over to the beach because fuck that. Yeah, or go on Dockspin and look at my docs. You can go and fucking, you can just go look at my fucking current address. Okay, fuck it.
Not going to use your body as my fucking debate tactic because I think
I
that
was
is
going to
inhuman.
give it. That's not exactly what I was aiming for, but what I
But
was
it
going
could-
to say
it could
was
lead to that.
Sure. Okay.
No, it wouldn't because.
What if you,
documents to
discuss
sign.
the-
Wait, how much shit do you have to sign for this? Jesus Christ. Oh, don't type that in chat. You'll get banned. Isn't excitement bad for the factory? No. Excitement is good for the factory because excitement is good for the wife. And then she can fuck off while I do my factory. Oh, please enter your full name. Oh, cute.
Program.
Oh, sorry, go on.
A hypothetical person, yes, but also
Named Demonama.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Well, all I was going to say, the entire thing that I was trying to get to here, was I was trying to say that there are people who do who do a form of what you were trying to say, which is pull the line closer to themselves, and those are people who are challenging the idea of what it means to be a woman in the first place. Now,
Yeah.
I happen to be one of those types of people, but there are many others. So we, if it's too uncomfortable for you to do that, we'll just, we'll stick to it here, which is the idea that womanhood and manhood are absurd, nebulous concepts that have no strict lines, no matter who insists that
Residential leases are 12 months or less? What? I've seen lease terms for all sorts of things.
that there are. Even even
not how I see
Christians. That's fine, but even Christians who try to impose extremely strict gender norms will be shown for fools when you simply turn the clock back 10 years and realize that the Christians 10 years ago, who ostensibly were pulling from the same holy text and the same biological root for gender, had very different views on gender. Gender is constantly, this thing that we call gender is constantly shifting, constantly amorphous. It has no hard lines. And so what people who you characterize as pulling the line towards themselves are actually saying, what they're communicating to the world is, you saying that there's a hard line around womanhood is foolish. I have an affinity towards this broad category of womanhood, and I deserve to be a part of it. And I believe they do. The same thing goes for people who are going towards manhood.
Yeah, and
that
I
these
just
are
don't believe
broad,
that that's what,
flexible.
I just don't believe that that's what woman and man are.
So what
I don't
do you
even,
believe? Well, then what do you believe they are then?
XX and XY.
Okay.
No, why would he give such a dumb
you believe
example?
that man and woman are identical to sex?
Yeah.
Not even sex, chromosomes.
Okay.
How do you know?
This is a
someone's
situation though where
Okay,
where
XX
like
and a vagina or XY and a dick.
They're
What about
No.
XY and a vagina?
Neither man nor woman.
okay. So then what do
but
you?
your
Are they-
reality.
They're intersex.
Wait,
We don't all have
wait.
to fit
Reality.
into-
Wait. Reality. Reality itself is repudiating your model. You have created a model that does not diagnose reality, that does not accurately reflect
Wait,
reality.
how so? If I say,
If you say-
wait. everybody
wait.
who's XY with a dick, I will put in the box of man, and everybody who's XX with a vagina, I'll put in the box of woman. How? I now have a lot of people in 2 boxes, and a lot of people in neither box. And
Okay, and
how-
now we
how
have
is
to
that-
now what you
how's that
normally have to
refutable?
do to like build a philosophical position is tie those in with your other beliefs. So let's say that you encounter someone, whether you know it or not, that has XX and a vagina, but you identify them. But when engaging, you identify them as a man because when
Well, then I'm
you
wrong.
see them, well, how can you? But how would you ever be able to know that? Do you see
Because
how
I don't believe
absurd-
a man or a woman is my perception of them. I believe it is what they are.
You just said a few minutes ago that you believed a man or woman and their pronouns therein are what you what is your perception? You're
I believe
contradicting
that
yourself on the fly.
No, I believe that the pronouns I use are what I reach for when I am assessing the masculinity or femininity of a person. So I believe that pronoun usage comes from a quick sexing of the person.
Okay.
But you can
And-
be wrong.
but you acknowledged-
But,
you
but I
acknowledged it would be
I
not
acknowledge
just-
that when I use the word man to refer to when I say he, if I gender somebody as he, that doesn't mean they're actually a man. It just means I think they are.
So then you just have like a really personally inconvenient and inconsistent way of doing things.
It's
And
not
I mean,
inconsistent.
You're
I'm literally
you're
saying
free to do
some-
that, but wait, you're admitting
wait.
here.
What
Hold
is
on, let me
inconsistent
explain,
about
let me
this?
explain.
Somebody's gender.
You-
Somebody's
you
gender.
wanna know
Hang on. 1 sec. Demonmama, how is it inconsistent? MrGirl, respond. Aiko, you get a chance to talk after.
So you don't want to force things on people, but you believe that man and masculinity are tied directly to XY chromosomes and having a penis. You acknowledge that you wouldn't be able to know what anybody's sex is by seeing them, but you acknowledge that you impose gender by using a pronoun. You impose gender often, perhaps for all you know, you could be wrong every single day because you never see anybody's chromosomes and you probably don't see very many people's genitalia. Even if your like sex life is bumping, you probably see, as far as percentage goes, you see way more people that you never see their genitals than you do. So you acknowledge that you supposedly you don't want to impress gender on other people, but you do impress gender by using pronouns based purely on your own perception, and also that gender is sex, but that you actually can't know sex. So what you have is a completely ridiculous worldview that helps you do nothing and only leaves you open to hurting other people. That's the inconsistent.
Thank you. Okay. Max, respond.
You are conflating imposing gender. You're saying imposing gender to mean both gendering somebody and enforcing harshly gender norms on people from like a societal level. So when I say I
Hang on.
I don't want you to respond to it. I want you to let me
Hang on,
finish.
Max. Sorry, DM, what do you want to respond to?
What?
I wanted to respond. Yeah, I think it's fair.
This is a
I wanna
kangaroo
respond-
court. This is a sham.
It's a bloodbath. Yes?
It's a bloodbath. Yeah. So what I wanted to address with there is you admitted previously in this conversation that gendering somebody incorrectly would be inhuman because that would be imposing a gender role on them. However,
that's not why. That's not why it's inhumane. That's not why. That's not true. That's not why. I didn't say that. I said it's inhumane. I said it's inhumane to misgender people to their face because it hurts them.
Okay, so because it hurts them. However, you acknowledge that you use gender norms, pre-existing gender norms, to judge someone. So you pull from gender norms that you personally have stated you believe to be unethical. You look at that person, you take those gender norms, you decide their pronoun based on that, knowing that you could hurt them.
I don't think gender norms are unethical. I didn't say that. Wait, Sunday, will you fucking let me have my turn? I don't.
5 seconds.
Current gender roles,
In 5
which you have
seconds.
criticized.
Okay, DM, stop.
Gender roles.
DM, stop. MrGirl, you get 2 minutes. Go.
Does this get good, or is this because this feels like a gender debate 752, and it's the exact same as every single other gender debate that's happened a million times? Does this actually change, or is it
by sexing people, by assuming their gender, and by using pronouns, either the pronouns they want or the pronouns they don't want? That is the act of imposing gender on them. I said earlier in this discussion, and I feel like you're not listening, or either you don't agree or you're not listening, but either way, you're not accepting the premise of this conversation, which is, I think your gender happens in my head, and I think my gender happens in your head. I think my gender is your perception of my body and my behavior.
AI
You are
art
looking
family of
at
5.
all
I saw this. This is a cursed as fuck image.
And the way you are perceiving of it, or conceiving of it in your head, the sense you're making of it, that is my gender. And I cannot control what happens in your head except by changing how I look, how I act, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what's happening in your head. That doesn't make any sense to me. That is what I think gender is. So given that, a lot of the criticisms you're making of me don't really make sense. If I agreed with you that your gender is chosen by you and that you decide what your gender is, then yes, of course, it would be overbearing and brutish for me to disagree with somebody about their own gender. But this is more like disagreeing with somebody about whether they're like an affable fellow or whether they're a good student. Gender is the perception.
That's what I was.
Hang on. He has 30 seconds left. Wait.
I just
30
want
seconds.
to keep going. I just want to keep going.
You have 30 seconds. Go. Clock's ticking.
Okay. So I don't believe that when I use somebody's pronouns, I'm or when I use the pronouns I want to use, I am expressing my reflection, my shooting from the hip sense of whether this person is a man or a woman. That's what the pronouns mean. So earlier you said I could be wrong. Yeah, I can be wrong. I can think someone is a man who isn't actually a man. So to me, man and woman are the thing that you actually are. XX with a vagina, XY with a dick. And then the way I refer to you or perceive you is just my guess.
That's time.
Gender is my guess or my conception of what you are. It's not what you actually are.
That's time. Aiko, then Demonmama.
Thank you.
So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because this is what I was trying to get to, I think. You know that there's a...
All right. New clips.
Some kind of episode. Hey, I am not bipolar. I'm not in some kind of episode, but I may be slightly autistic, like Rain Man. And that's part of my superpower. That's the reason why I can produce tracks and design and do so many things. But hey, I am not bipolar. I'm not in some kind of episode, but I'm...
Nice.
reality behind the gender stuff, what you want to call the XX, XY, etc. So it seems like there's two different definitions or relationships with gender. You're saying one is the objective reality of whatever their biological components are, but also you think that other people inflict.
Okay. All right. This is why. So much for principles.
Serious. Talk to Chud and man, I gotta ask you. I still learn about him. The more I learn about him, the more I think he's a serious danger to audiences. Boy, look at that. Hang on, let's just read through this. Man, I gotta ask you. Are you still planning on making content with MrGirl? That or expose expose on him as nuclear. And if I'm real, more I've learned about this guy, the more I think he's a genuine danger to audiences here. This dude's past is so f***ed up, and he is not apologetic about it. He will use his
these are
fame
Demonmama
and
DMs?
find new victims with his audience. I have no doubt about it. Also, the cops are going to get involved. It's only a matter of time. That's her position on Max. The person she just collabed with today. The person she was trying to talk to Chud and get him to reconsider doing content on, and maybe do an expose on him that is nuclear. That's her position.
Okay, but did you consider that
That's her
he
position.
doesn't
on it.
like Destiny now?
And by the way, she's talked about this on stream. She talked about this with Steven Platforming Max. This is shit that she's covered before even, this that happened a few weeks ago with Chud Logic. It's actually shocking. Yeah. And what does she do? Oh, guess what? MrGirl doesn't like Steven. Guess we're pals. Let's go debate him on a stream with President Sunday. The dangerous guy. The guy who's dangerous to audiences. The guy with the yikers past that he's not apologetic for, that she thinks the cops will be involved in at some point.
Based.
The guy that she thinks Chud Logic should have done a nuclear expose on. This shit's all virtue signal.
And?